We are late for a doctor's appointment, so we've been pushed back by half an hour. So instead of getting angry, irritated, we will make the best of it and share some thoughts. So I got myself a mojito because something to cool me down, and I made notes, which are again a little bit DIY and a little bit incomplete, but we make do with what we have. Yes? Yes. All right. So I want to talk about absolutes, how we get programmed about absolutes. And I understand the need of it because when you are learning things, it's easier to pull back than to be set in your ways in a certain way and then try to lay a boundary. So that is always an issue. So I understand the need of teaching absolutes, but I also think that as important as it is for us to learn about absolutes, it's important for us to learn about nuances and perspective and, taking everything with a grain of salt. That in itself is a skill on its own. And I think we all do it. We do it very selfishly. So if there is a rule that applies to us, for example, that we should not lie, we will expect other people to not lie. And if we catch somebody lying to us, we will like shove it in their face that you were lying to us. But then we will lie when we think it's okay. We will sort of justify our own lies. And that is why I believe that we are capable of nuances. We are capable of taking things with a grain of salt. We are capable of putting things into perspective, putting advice into perspective, but we don't do it because then we have to put our own actions and our own behavior and our own advice, in fact, into perspective. So I have few sayings, I think, and I want to give you a nuanced version. I want to give you a realistic version of those same sayings. So without further ado, point number one is be yourself, is one advice that you've heard, but I want you to consider being your best self. And there's a difference, and you know that there's a difference. So be yourself is an advice that we use as an excuse for our behavior, for our bad behavior mostly. Because say suppose somebody says that like you should be punctual, for instance, then you, instead of improving your behavior, you will tell the other person that I'm just being myself. Like that's just the biggest excuse. But when you focus on being your best self, you ask yourself that is this the best behavior? Is this the best course of action that I can take? So you put yourself under scrutiny, which is a good thing. Point number two is I want you to let go of the advice that everybody is entitled to their opinion, and I want you to hold on to the advice in its place is that everybody is entitled to their informed opinion, because that information is the make or break in most cases. That information that you and I lack about that person that we so happily judge or have an opinion about, that information that is missing from this equation is the reason that they're doing what they're doing. And sometimes we don't always have those reasons, that information. And that applies to other people having an opinion about your life. So if somebody has an opinion about your life, don't take it personally because they don't have all the information about your life. And I know that sounds hard, but once you learn it, once you master it, you are going to be unbreakable, almost unbreakable. So point number three, which I believe 100% is that you don't need to be brutally honest. So I want you to let go of the advice that you need to be brutally honest with people because you want to be habitually honest with people. What's the difference? When you're brutally honest, this means that you had all this time to the point where you had to become brutally honest with somebody where you were not honest. You may not have been dishonest essentially, but you may not have spoken up when you should have spoken up. And that basically led you to the point of breaking, hence brutally honest. But if you are habitually honest, you speak when you should speak, you speak your mind when you should have spoken your mind, you will never reach the point of brutal honesty, because brutal honesty does more harm than good. It causes more damage that it can end up saving. So I don't see the point in being brutally honest. I'd rather be habitually honest. Point number four, which I want you to let go of, is don't lie. I want you to remove that advice from your mind, and I want you to replace it with be honest with the people who are capable of dealing with your honesty. Not with everybody. See, honesty is something that is somewhat a privilege, right? So if you have to lie to save your ass, lie. Like as controversial and as self-contradictory to point number three that may sound, but that's the whole episode about. That's the whole video about having the sense, having that nuance. For instance, there is somebody in your life who is on a self-deprecating journey. No matter what you say now, no matter how honest and genuine you are, if they're not in a place to listen to your honesty, to absorb your honesty, all you will do is annoy them. It's like talking to a teenager. They feel suffocated. So up to a certain point in time, you have to let them, or you have to choose between them liking you or you keeping them safe if it's actually self-deprecating behavior that they're doing. Because somebody who's on a self-deprecating journey, when you do something for them, it may end up being something that they don't appreciate and they may not like you for it, but you have to be okay with it. You can't have both. In most situations, if you want somebody safe, you may want to let go of your need for them to like you. That's not something that's going to happen. Point number next is that I don't want you to be nice. This is the most shitty advice anybody can give you. That is, be nice. I want you to be kind. Why? Because when you are being nice, it's not a choice. It's something that people expect you to do as an obligation. It's something that people expect you to do, even if that means that you will have to ignore your own well-being sometimes. So I want you to be kind, because when you are being kind, you are being nice, but you're being nice when you can, not because you have to. It's a choice. You are giving from your overflow. You're giving because you have something extra. You're not giving from your share. Because when you give from your share, no matter how nice that is, it will end up building resentment. And what is the point of being nice if it'll build resentment in your heart? I mean, I don't see the point. So don't be nice, be kind. The next advice that I want you to get rid of is choose your friends wisely. I want you to keep your friends. Be wise about keeping your friends, because when you have a friend, they are contributing to your life, and if they're not contributing, they're taking in some way, shape or form. You could be this friend that is taking away from somebody's life, but then ask yourself, are these people contributing to your life, or are you contributing to all these people whose life you are a part of? And this is because we are so hell-bent on choosing right, like choosing the right partner, choosing the right job, choosing the right opportunity. The thing is, that is a choice. You deciding to keep them will happen once you be with them, once you spend enough time with them, once you have enough ups and downs with them, and you decide to keep them or lovingly let them go. It does not have to be a fight. I'm not saying that it has to. You just have to let them go. And when you decide to let somebody go, somehow, trust me, they will do something that will help you solidify that decision. Either they will talk badly, or somebody will come and tell you that they were talking bad about you. Something of some sort will happen that will help you decide to let them go. It'll make the process easier. Okay. So the next advice that I want you to let go is follow your heart. I don't want you to follow your heart. And this is the advice that I want you to let go of completely. I want you to nurture your heart, nurture your mind, nurture your intuition. And once it is strong enough, then I want you to follow your intuition. Because there are so many quotes. So many people say that my heart and mind is at battle. And it's at battle because your intuition isn't strong enough to tell you what to choose. Because here's the thing, there are some things that make so much sense on paper, which means that they make so much sense to your mind, but your heart is not in the right place. Like, you feel that something's off. It's just that you can't explain it. And if you have enough intuition, you will stick by it. On the flip side of things, mostly women have immensely good intuition. Women are in a relationship, and if they feel intuitively that something is off with their partner, more often than not, there is. Within few months, if not weeks, evidence will present itself of their intuition being right. So I want you to nurture your heart, nurture your mind. In the process, make your intuition strong. And I think the best way to make your intuition strong is showing up for yourself. When you say that you will read 2 pages before you sleep, bloody do it. When you say that I will drink 1 liter of water, at least attempt to do it. If not, do it successfully. If you say that I will eat healthy, at least goddamn attempt to do it. When you show up for yourself, your intuition becomes stronger. Your faith in yourself becomes stronger. So that's the easiest way to strengthen your intuition. Advice number next that I want you to let go of is do everything for love. I want you to do everything from love. When you do everything for love, you are self-sacrificing. But when you're doing everything from love, it's coming from a very wholesome, very loving place. And at the end of the day, you don't want resentment to build in your relationships. But when you are doing everything in the name of love, everything for love, love is one thing that will evaporate quickly, quickest even. But when you're doing something from love, you are basically nurturing the love that you have for the other person, for the other thing, whatever that is. The next advice that I want you to let go is see the good in people, because I want you to see the truth in people. Let that sink in. When you see the good in people, you purposefully train your brain to ignore the so-called red flags. You purposefully train your subconscious to ignore the things that are not in alignment with your values, with your ethics, with your personality, with your likes, with your dislikes, with whatever you want to call. But when you see the truth in people, you see the positives, you see the negatives. Sometimes you accept their negatives because you see the truth. You see people for what they are. You accept people for what they are. When you accept people for what they are, you set your expectations for what they are. And when you set your expectations correctly, you essentially don't set yourself up for failure, which is a win-win if you ask me. The next point. So it's not advice that I want you to let go. It's just an understanding that I want you to build. So there is a difference between letting go and quitting. Quitting is when you don't give something your 100% and you see that it is not working and you just let it go. That is quitting. But when you give your 100% to something and still see that it is not working, that is letting go is smart. Quitting, not so much. So understand the difference. Ask yourself, whatever situation it is, have you given your 100%? If you have and it is still not serving you, it is still draining you, let it go. Let it go with love. Just let it go. The next point that I want all the ladies to let go, at least, is believe in people's potential. Because the thing is that as children of God, everybody has potential. That's like, I'm not a singer, but do I have the potential to sing? Sure. Will I have to work on honing that potential? Sure. So there could be somebody who's naturally gifted as a singer. They might need lesser amount of work to hone that skill, whereas me, who is not a gifted singer, I will need extra efforts to be able to become a decent singer, not even a good singer. So don't just look at people's potential. See if they're doing something to hone that potential. Everybody has the potential to be successful. Is somebody doing something to become successful? Everybody is the potential to become something great, but what are you doing to become great? I think this is where you need to understand that there is a difference between wanting something bad enough. For instance, I obviously wanted to heal my psoriasis, but I did not want to heal it bad enough to give up on gluten in my past. But when that point hit where I wanted to get rid of psoriasis because of the pain, the itchiness, it got aggravated to the point that I couldn't even stand on my own feet, is the point where I decided to just quit gluten. Did I not have the potential? I did. Something had to be done to hone that potential. So don't just focus on people having potential, focus on people honing, doing something to hone that potential. Yeah. The next point that I want you to let go of is be helpful. Because you need to understand the difference between helping people and enabling people. And I think I want you to go back to the point of being nice versus being kind. Because when you are being nice, in some way or the other, you are enabling people. But when you are being kind, you are helping people. If you want to know if you're enabling somebody or if you're helping somebody, the best way is to see how you feel. Because if you feel good after helping somebody, you have helped them out. If you feel bad after helping somebody, or if you feel anything except good, that is you enabling them. So yeah, those were the few things that I had in mind about rewiring some advice that we have been given all our lives. So I hope that helped, and I'll catch you sometime soon. Yeah, love you to Pluto and back.